third challenge then is the clutter challenge. How are we going to do it for it to stand out? And I talked about the fragmentation of media, the number of radio stations, the just amount of information overload to our targeted audiences on a day-to-day basis. The increased scale of marketing activity has meant that there has to be a lot more air traffic control of all the messages going to market. So what matters is that even though you may have good creative, or you may be very clear about what you do, as we've seen, and you were talking about some of the companies that have perished, not all of them, were strategically chose the wrong things to do, but some of them actually battled in the execution of those choices. The same applies here. It all comes down to the relevant placement. It's about going back to the basics. If you think about where we've been, we were taught that you gotta analyze your consumers. You gotta know, where they come from, what languages they speak, where they work, and all of those sort of things. And again, it sounds like these things are quite basics, but they're quite basic, but the truth is a lot of people don't practice on a day-to-day basis. Time-band analysis, looking at consumer journeys, the day in the life of our target audience, time and day part analysis, underpinned by DJ followings and all of those things. Media weights, the mix between reach and frequency, while ensuring a point of diminishing returns is not reached. Execution planning, ensuring that all executions get the correct weighting, and we are agile enough as the campaign is progressing to change the executions in accordance to market changes. So for us, again, understanding the market was quite key. We knew that our target market was more likely to listen to radio when they commute. So our media buy was 85% around those environments: prime time, drive time, afternoon time, informed mainly by the balance between reach and affinity. We also knew that 59% of them will only listen to radio they can relate to, the radio stations they can relate to, and that is relevant to them, which of course then informs our media buy. So our job to be done was quite simple. Was about building awareness, was the multiplier effect. Some of the multiplier wedding, Michael, is coming through on my presentation. Strong call to action, and of course conveying a simple message. So those are the stations. It's an open secret because our competitors can track it, so I might as well show you. Those are the stations we went to with our executions. But of course the choice was based on balancing reach and affinity, national versus regional, and of course limiting the number of executions. We had about 9 different executions for savvy, the value benefits, but of course when you go to one station, you don't go with all 9. It's understanding the audience and making sure that you choose those that are very much relevant to the people you are talking to, about 2 or 3 per radio station, depending who we're talking to. So we learned that timing is everything. It's about giving each ad a fair chance to build and succeed. And you will see when I take you through the results in a few moments. The next one is the creative effectiveness challenge. How do we make sure that we deliver what is truly memorable, what is truly compelling, meaningful, and get people not only to remember it, but to take action? So it's about articulating and communicating what we stand for in a compelling manner. At Nedbank, we've developed these things called the creative review principles. And these are the things that help us guide how we appraise creative. There's about 200 or so people across our business who do some sort of work in terms of marketing. And therefore, it's important that in each of those forums, people have some sort of a guidance in terms of what do you look for when you are approving Nedbank advertising, because what you want is consistency. If you don't have consistency, you then end up with a brand that is executed in the marketplace, becomes schizophrenic because all of the messages and takeouts that come back, are totally different. So we've got this process. It helps us fine-tune basic elements like briefing. Briefing, how do you write a good brief to an agency? And what sort of things you got to check to make sure that the brief you know, is fit for purpose and doing what the job that that you want to do. And of course, as I said, how do you then measure when agencies come back with creative? So this is quite important because it's helped us in the last while that everything that you see from Nedbank has some sort of consistency. It does feel like, even though we've got different divisions, different clients that we talk to, but it feels like it's coming from the same family. Okay, and of course it's helped us in this campaign as well. And the last section here is the efficiency challenge. Did it work? What is important is whenever you do anything is asking the question, you know, has it benefited Nedbank? And it should always be based on articulated objectives at the beginning of the campaign. Even if, and I know the creative agencies might not like this, but even if you risk not winning awards, as long as the work is fit for purpose and designed to help with the business objectives.